Project management. Course content. Introduction to project management. The role of a project manager. Understanding project life cycles. Initiating a project. Project planning essentials. Creating a work breakdown structure, WBS. Budgeting and cost management. Time management and scheduling. Risk management. Quality management. Project communication strategies. Part 1: Introduction to Project Management. What is project management? Project management is the art and science of turning ideas into reality. At its core, it's about getting things done efficiently, effectively, and with as few headaches as possible. More formally, project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet project requirements. This definition comes straight from the Project Management Institute, PMI, but let's break that down into something more practical. If you've ever planned a birthday party, launched a product, built a website, or even organized a vacation, you've managed a project, maybe without even realizing it. Every project has a goal, a timeline, a budget, even if it's just don't spend too much, and usually a few surprises along the way. Project management helps you navigate all of that. Key characteristics of a project. Before diving into the processes, it's important to understand what makes a project a project. Temporary projects have a defined start and end. Unique, the outcome of the project is something new or different, a product, service, or result. Progressive elaboration, you don't always know everything up front. As the project moves forward, you learn and adapt. Examples of projects: launching a mobile app, building a house, planning a company retreat, designing a marketing campaign. What's not a project? Anything ongoing or repetitive, like running customer support or doing payroll. Those are operations. Why project management matters. In a world where time is money, resources are limited, and stakeholders are impatient, project management helps you stay on track. It provides structure, clarity, and a framework for making decisions. Without good project management, projects fall apart. Deadlines are missed, budgets are blown, and teams burn out. On the flip side, solid project management can mean projects are delivered on time and within budget. Teams collaborate effectively. Risks are identified early and handled smoothly. Stakeholders are informed and satisfied. The project management triangle. A foundational concept in PM is the project management triangle, also known as the triple constraint. It includes scope, what needs to be done, time, when it needs to be done, cost, what it will cost to do. These three elements are interdependent. Change one and the others are affected. If you want to finish a project faster, time, you may need to add more resources, cost, or reduce the work scope. Some versions of the triangle include quality at the center, because poor balance between scope, time, and cost often compromises quality. Common project management methodologies. Over the years, several approaches have emerged for managing projects. Here are a few of the most common. Waterfall, a linear sequential approach. Best for projects with clear requirements and minimal change. Agile, an iterative and flexible approach. Great for software development and environments with changing needs. Scrum, a specific agile framework focused on short sprints with frequent reviews and team check-ins. Kanban, visual workflow management. Popular for managing tasks and continuous work. Hybrid, a mix of traditional and agile approaches tailored to the project's needs. We'll explore these in more detail in later parts. Who uses project management? The short answer: everyone. While PM is most commonly associated with industries like construction, IT, and marketing, the principles apply everywhere: non-profits, education, healthcare, and even personal life. Anyone responsible for delivering a goal with constraints, whether it's a software engineer, HR manager, or event planner, benefits from PM skills. Summary. Project management isn't just for certified professionals or big corporations. It's for anyone who wants to deliver value in a structured, predictable, and stress-reducing way. Key takeaways. A project is temporary, unique, and goal-oriented. Project management helps guide work to completion, on time and within budget. The triple constraint, scope, time, cost is a foundational concept. There are many PM methodologies, each suited to different needs. PM principles are universal and valuable in any context. Part 2: The role of a project manager. Who is the project manager? Think of the project manager (PM) as the glue that holds everything together, the planner, communicator, risk tamer, motivator, and sometimes therapist. While the team may be experts in their individual fields, the PM is the person who ensures everyone is rowing in the same direction at the same time. They're not necessarily the boss, but they are the facilitator, the one who makes sure the job gets done, obstacles are cleared, and progress keeps moving. Core responsibilities of a project manager. A great project manager wears many hats. Here are the key responsibilities that usually fall on their plate. 1. Defining the project. Before a team even starts work, the PM is there asking the big questions. What are we trying to achieve? What does success look like? Who needs to be involved? What's our timeline and budget? 2. Planning. Once the project is greenlit, the PM develops the roadmap. This includes breaking the work into tasks and phases, creating schedules and deadlines, assigning roles and responsibilities, estimating time and costs, building risk and communication plans. 3. Communicating. This might be the most important task of all. A PM is constantly talking to team members to check progress and resolve issues, stakeholders to keep them informed and aligned, clients or sponsors to manage expectations. Good communication prevents confusion, misalignment, and missed goals. 4. Monitoring and controlling. Throughout the project, the PM tracks how things are going. Are we on schedule? Are we over budget? Are risks emerging? Are team members overwhelmed? They use tools like Gantt charts, task boards, or dashboards to monitor progress and adjust plans as needed. 5. Problem solving. No project goes 100% as planned. When issues arise, missed deadlines, unexpected costs, team conflicts, the PM doesn't panic. They gather information, weigh options, and work with the team to move forward. 6. Closing. When the work is done, the PM wraps it up. Final deliverables are reviewed and approved. Budgets are finalized. A post-mortem or lessons learned session is held. The team is recognized for their effort. Closure matters. It gives everyone a chance to reflect and grow before jumping into the next big thing. Key skills every project manager needs. Let's break down what makes a project manager not just capable, but great. Communication skills. Clear, concise, and consistent. A PM needs to talk to developers, marketers, execs, and sometimes even clients, each in their own language. Leadership. Even without formal authority, the PM must inspire, guide, and support a team. Organization. Juggling timelines, meetings, tasks, and documents without letting anything slip through the cracks. Problem solving. From schedule conflicts to unexpected costs, the PM needs to think on their feet. Adaptability. Plans change. Priorities shift. A good PM stays flexible without losing direction. Emotional intelligence. Understanding team dynamics, managing stress, and knowing when someone needs support or a push. Common myths about project managers. Let's clear up a few misconceptions.
They just schedule meetings.
Sure, scheduling is part of it, but they also manage scope, budgets, quality, risks, and people. PMs are strategists, not just schedulers.
They don't need to know the technical stuff.
While they don't need to code the app or design the product, understanding the basics of the work helps them communicate better and plan more effectively.
Project managers don't add value.
Without a PM, teams can lack direction, waste time, or go over budget. PMs are often the reason a project succeeds at all. The PM's role across different industries. PMs exist in nearly every industry, and their role adapts to the environment. Construction, coordinating subcontractors, permits, timelines, and inspections. Software development, managing sprints, releases, and client feedback. Marketing, launching campaigns, coordinating creatives, tracking KPIs. Healthcare, rolling out new systems or improving patient processes. Education, implementing new curricula or managing academic research.
The tools and lingo may change, but the role stays the same: make the project happen smoothly.
Summary. The project manager is the backbone of any successful project. They're not just managing tasks, they're managing people, expectations, priorities, and problems. Key takeaways. A PM plans, leads, communicates, and adapts. Their work starts before the team begins and doesn't end until the project is closed. Great PMs blend hard skills, planning, organizing, with soft skills, leadership, communication. The value they bring often determines a project's success or failure. Part 3: Understanding Project Life Cycles. What is a project life cycle? Every project, no matter the size or industry, goes through a life cycle, a series of phases that take it from idea to reality. Think of it like a journey. You start with a destination in mind, plan your route, hit the road, handle detours, and finally arrive. A project life cycle provides structure. It breaks down a complex undertaking into manageable stages. Understanding it helps you plan better, communicate clearer, and execute with more confidence. The 4, sometimes 5 phases of a project. There are typically 4 main phases in a traditional project life cycle. Some methodologies add a 5th phase for clarity, but the core stages are: 1. Initiation.
This is where the project is born.
The focus is on defining what needs to be done and why. It answers questions like:
what's the purpose of this project?
Is it feasible? Who are the stakeholders?
What's the expected outcome?
Common outputs. Project charter. Stakeholder identification. High-level requirements. 2. Planning. Once the project is approved, detailed planning begins. This is arguably the most critical phase. Get this right and everything else becomes easier. Planning involves defining scope and deliverables, breaking down tasks, WBS, work breakdown structure, creating a timeline, Gantt charts, sprints, etc., estimating costs and setting the budget, identifying risks and mitigation plans, setting communication methods. Common outputs. Project management plan, risk register, communication plan, schedule and resource plan. 3. Execution.
This is the doing phase.
Work gets done, tasks are completed, deliverables are produced, and teams get moving. The PM is busy here. Assigning tasks and managing resources. Tracking progress. Resolving roadblocks. Ensuring quality. Keeping stakeholders in the loop. Common outputs. Completed deliverables. Status reports. Change requests, yes, they happen. 4. Monitoring and controlling. Often paired with execution, this phase ensures the project stays on track. While the team works, the PM monitors timelines, budgets, risks, and scope.
This phase is all about
performance tracking, KPIs, metrics, scope verification, budget adjustments, quality control, risk response, common outputs, performance reports, change logs, forecast. 5. Closing. Every project ends, or at least it should. Closure means wrapping up work, evaluating results, and celebrating success. Don't skip that last part. Key activities. Final deliverables reviewed and approved. Contracts closed out. Documentation archive. Team debriefed and released.
Lessons learned recorded.
Common outputs. Final project report. Post-mortem analysis.
Lessons learned document.
Why understanding the life cycle matters. Knowing the phases of a project gives you a mental map.
It helps you
plan for what's next. Communicate with stakeholders more clearly. Spot issues early, like planning gaps or scope creep. Stay organized and intentional. It also helps set expectations. A project isn't just go do it, it's a sequence of logical steps. This makes the work less overwhelming and more manageable. Traditional versus agile life cycles. It's worth noting that not all projects follow a straight, linear path. There are two broad categories. Traditional, waterfall, follows the phases strictly in order. Ideal for projects with clear requirements, little expected change, construction, manufacturing, etc. Agile, iterative, uses shorter cycles called sprints and continuous feedback. Phases may happen simultaneously or repeatedly. Ideal for evolving requirements, fast-paced environments, software development startups. Real-world example. Let's say you're managing a project to launch a new website. Initiation, you meet with stakeholders and define goals, e.g., a site to sell products. Planning, you outline features, assign tasks to designers and developers, and set deadlines. Execution, the team creates wireframes, writes content, builds the site. Monitoring and controlling, you track progress, manage feedback, and adjust when delays happen. Closing, the site launches. You run post-launch reviews, archive documents, and celebrate. Simple, right? But each phase requires care, collaboration, and consistency. Summary. Understanding a project's life cycle is like having a roadmap. It helps you navigate from idea to delivery with clarity and confidence. Key takeaways. Most projects follow 5 key phases: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Each phase serves a specific purpose and builds on the previous one. The life cycle provides structure and reduces uncertainty. Traditional and agile life cycles suit different types of projects. Part 4. Initiating a project. Starting off right. Project initiation is where everything begins, where ideas move from "we should do this" to "let's figure out if we can and should do this." It's a critical stage that often gets rushed or skipped entirely, which can lead to chaos down the road. The goal of this phase is to define the project at a high level and get official approval to move forward.
It's where you answer, what are we doing, why are we doing it, and who's involved?
Key activities in the initiation phase. Let's break down what typically happens in project initiation. 1. Developing a business case.
This is where the project's why comes into focus.
A business case explains the reasoning behind the project and lays out the benefits, risks, costs, and alternatives. Key components. Problem or opportunity. Proposed solution. Expected benefits, ROI, efficiency, user impact, etc. High-level risks and constraints. Estimated budget and timeline. If a project doesn't make sense on paper, it probably won't work in real life either. 2. Conducting a feasibility study. A feasibility study tests whether the project is realistic, technically, financially, and organizationally.
You're trying to find out:
do we have the resources to do this? Is it technically possible? Can we deliver within the budget and time? Will it create value for the business? Not every idea is feasible, and that's okay. Better to find out now than halfway through. 3. Identifying stakeholders. Stakeholders are anyone impacted by the project, positively or negatively. Identifying them early helps avoid surprises later. Common stakeholders include clients or customers, sponsors,
team members,
department heads, end users, regulators, for compliance-heavy industries. Pro tip: stakeholder engagement is easier when you loop them in early rather than inform them late. 4. Creating a project charter. The project charter is one of the most important documents in this phase. Think of it as the starter kit for your project. A typical project charter includes project purpose and objectives, high-level scope, key stakeholders, high-level timeline and budget, project manager's name and authority, approval to proceed.
It's not a full plan that comes next, but it sets direction and gives you the authority to begin.
5. Defining success criteria. Before a project starts, it's crucial to define how you'll measure success. Is it delivering on time? Staying under budget? Meeting user satisfaction? Achieving a specific outcome, e.g., 20% more website traffic? Clear success criteria keep everyone aligned and reduce the risk of last-minute scope arguments or moving the goalposts. Common pitfalls during initiation. Even though this phase is relatively short, it's easy to make costly mistakes here. Watch out for vague goals. Improve operations isn't a goal.
Reduce support calls by 25% is.
Skipping stakeholder input. People feel left out and push back later. Lack of sponsorship. Without an executive sponsor, your project may not get the support or funding it needs. Underestimating complexity. Thinking it's a quick job without analysis leads to trouble. Real-world scenario: the missed charter. Let's say a marketing team starts a campaign redesign without a proper charter. They assume it's just updating visuals. But midway through, leadership expects new branding, messaging, and a website overhaul, none of which were scoped. The result: confusion, burnout, blown budgets. If they'd started with a simple charter, everyone would have agreed on scope and expectations and stayed aligned. Tools and templates that help. Here are a few tools and docs often used in this phase. Stakeholder map. RACI chart to define roles and responsibilities. Project charter template. Business case template. Kick-off meeting agenda. Most project management software, like Asana, Trello, ClickUp, or Microsoft Project, includes templates to guide these early steps. Summary. Initiating a project is like laying the foundation of a house. If you skip it or cut corners, everything else becomes harder, or even collapses. Key takeaways. Initiation defines the why and what of a project. A business case and feasibility study help justify the project. Stakeholder identification is key to early buy-in. The project charter sets direction and grants authority to begin. Clearly defining success criteria prevents misalignment later. Part 5: Project Planning Essentials. Why planning matters. Planning is where the real magic of project management happens. It's the phase where big ideas get translated into detailed step-by-step execution strategies. Without a solid plan, even the best teams can stumble, and projects can go over budget, miss deadlines, or fail entirely. The planning phase gives you clarity, control, and confidence. You go from "we know what we want" to "here's exactly how we'll make it happen." Goals of the planning phase.
At the end of planning, you should have
a clear, detailed roadmap of how the project will run, defined roles and responsibilities,
a timeline and schedule,
a budget, plans for handling communication, risks and quality.
Let's break these down.
Key components of project planning. 1. Define the scope. Scope is everything the project will do, and just as importantly, what it won't do. This prevents scope creep, when new tasks sneak into the project without proper planning or approval. Scope planning includes project objectives, deliverables, boundaries, assumptions, constraints. A scope statement or statement of work, SOW, documents all of this clearly. 2. Create a work breakdown structure, WBS. The WBS is like the skeleton of your project. It breaks down the total scope into smaller manageable chunks, called work packages, that can be scheduled, assigned and tracked. Think of it like building a Lego set. You don't focus on the castle as a whole, you start with the towers, walls, windows and gates. 3. Build a project schedule. Once you know the work, you need to figure out when and in what order it'll be done. Steps include estimating durations, identifying task dependencies, e.g., you can't paint before you build the wall, creating a timeline, Gantt charts, milestone maps, calendars. Tools like Microsoft Project, Smartsheet, or simple spreadsheets are commonly used. 4. Estimate costs and create a budget. You'll need to estimate labor cost, people's time, materials or tools, equipment and licenses, travel or logistics. Then you pull it all together into a project budget, which acts as a financial guide and baseline for tracking expenses later. 5. Assign roles and responsibilities. Use tools like a RACI matrix, responsible, accountable, consulted, informed, to define who's doing what. This clears up confusion and prevents the dreaded, "I thought someone else was doing that." Good teams are built on clear expectations and trust, and that starts here. 6. Plan for risks. Every project has risks, unknowns that could impact time, cost, or outcomes. A simple risk management plan includes identifying potential risks, brainstorming SWOT analysis, assessing their likelihood and impact, defining mitigation and response strategies.
You don't need to predict everything, but thinking through what if
scenarios will save headaches later. 7. Establish a communication plan. Who needs to know what and when? A communication plan outlines stakeholders and their info needs, frequency of updates, daily stand-ups, weekly reports, communication methods, email, meetings, dashboards, tools used, Slack, Teams, Notion, etc. Good communication keeps teams aligned and stakeholders confident. 8. Plan for quality. How will you ensure the deliverables meet the required standards? A quality plan might cover metrics or benchmarks for success, review processes, code reviews, testing cycles, standards to follow, industry best practices, internal guidelines. The earlier you think about quality, the less rework you'll face later. Planning doesn't mean perfection. One of the biggest misconceptions about planning is that you need to predict every detail. You don't. A good plan is flexible, built on real input, not just wishful thinking, open to revision. Think of it as your project's GPS, not a rigid track but a reliable guide. If you hit traffic or delay, you reroute.
But without that GPS, you're lost.
Summary. Project planning transforms vision into action. It provides the structure your team needs to deliver results, and the information stakeholders need to feel confident. Key takeaways. Planning defines what the project will deliver and how. A good plan includes scope, timeline, budget, roles, risks, communication, and quality. Tools like WBS, RACI charts, and Gantt charts help manage complexity. Flexibility and clear documentation are key to a successful plan. Part 6. Creating a Work Breakdown Structure WBS. What is a WBS? The Work Breakdown Structure WBS is a foundational tool in project management. It helps you break down your big, possibly intimidating project into smaller, manageable, and more trackable pieces. Think of the WBS like zooming in with a camera lens. You start with the full picture, the finished project, then focus on the major parts, then the smaller parts, and so on, until every piece of work is clearly visible. The idea is simple. You can't manage what you can't define. Why use a WBS? A WBS helps clarify what needs to be done, avoid overlooking tasks, estimate time and cost more accurately, assign responsibilities with less confusion, track progress more effectively. And it makes communication with stakeholders way easier. They can see exactly what's involved. Structure of a WBS. The WBS is usually structured in a hierarchy, like a tree or outline.
At the top is your final deliverable, the project.
Beneath that are major components, and below each of those are smaller tasks. Example: building a website. Here's a basic example of a WBS for a website project. Markdown. Copy edit. 1. Website project. 1.1 Planning.
Define requirements.
Create wireframes.
Approve sitemap.
1.2 Design.
Design homepage.
Design inner pages.
Get stakeholder feedback.
1.3 Development.
Front-end coding. Back-end setup. CMS integration.
1.4 Testing. QA testing.
Bug fixing. Cross-browser checks.
1.5 Launch.
Final deployment. Client training. Post-launch support. Each lower-level item is a work package, a chunk of work that can be assigned, tracked, and budgeted.
Rules for building a good WBS. Follow these principles to make your WBS clear and effective. 1. Use the 100% rule. The WBS should capture 100% of the project work, no more, no less. If it's not in the WBS, it's not part of the project. 2. Keep it deliverable-oriented. Focus on outcomes, not just tasks. For example, say homepage design, a deliverable, not work on Photoshop, an activity. 3. Stay at the right level of detail. Break down work only as far as you need to plan, assign, and track it. Don't go overboard. Too much detail equals micromanaging. Too little equals confusion. 4. Avoid overlapping tasks. Each element in the WBS should be unique. No duplication, or you risk double counting work or creating gaps. Types of WBS formats. There's no one way to visualize a WBS. Choose based on what works best for your project and team.
Outline format, numbered list like above.
Hierarchical tree, boxes and lines like an org chart. Mind maps, great for brainstorming phase. Use tools like Microsoft Project or Excel. Lucidchart or Miro for visuals. Write Asana or ClickUp for integrated WBS views. Tips for creating your WBS. Start with deliverables. Begin with what the project is supposed to produce, not do. Collaborate. Get input from team leads or subject matter experts. They know the details you might miss. Check for gaps. Cross-reference the WBS with the project scope to make sure nothing's missing. Reuse and adapt. If you've done similar projects before, reuse and tailor past WBS examples.
No need to reinvent the wheel.
Common mistakes to avoid. Creating a to-do list instead of a structure. Not breaking work down far enough, leading to vague tasks. Breaking it down too much, wasting time on unnecessary detail. Building the WBS in isolation, team input is key. WBS versus project schedule.
Let's clear up a common mix-up.
The WBS defines what needs to be done.
The schedule defines when it will be done.
The WBS comes first. It's the backbone that your schedule, cost estimates, and assignments will be built on. Summary. A solid WBS is one of the most powerful tools in a project manager's toolkit. It brings structure, clarity, and control to your project. Key takeaways. A WBS breaks down your project into manageable parts. It focuses on deliverables, not just tasks. Follow the 100% rule to capture all necessary work. Avoid micromanagement, go deep enough but not too deep. Use team input to make it more complete and accurate. Part 7. Creating a realistic project schedule. Time to turn tasks into timelines. You've got your scope. You've got your work breakdown structure, WBS. Now it's time to answer the next big question.
When will all this get done?
That's what scheduling is about, taking your structured list of work and putting it on a timeline, a realistic one. A project schedule shows what gets done when and by whom, and it's one of the most critical documents you'll build.
Let's break it down step by step.
Step 1. List the activities. Using your WBS, extract all the tasks that need to be scheduled. These should be the work packages or lowest level tasks that require time and effort. For example,
design homepage. Set up backend server. Test for mobile responsiveness.
Tools like Microsoft Project, Smartsheet, Excel, or even a physical whiteboard can work here. Step 2. Identify dependencies. Not all tasks can be done at the same time. Some tasks rely on others being finished first. Types of dependencies. Finish to start, FS, can't start B until A is done, e.g. can't test until development is complete. Start to start, SS, V can start once A starts, e.g. front-end and back-end work can start in parallel. Finish to finish, FF, B must finish when A finishes, e.g. training and documentation wrap up together. Mapping these dependencies creates a network of tasks that helps you calculate the overall project timeline. Step 3. Estimate durations. How long will each task take?
This is where you talk to your team.
Use historical data from similar projects. Add buffers for risk or uncertainty.
You don't need to guess blindly.
If something usually takes 3 days, plan for that. But if it involves a new tool or tight coordination, you might add a day or two as a buffer. Pro tip: be realistic, not optimistic. Projects rarely finish ahead of schedule. Step 4. Build the timeline. Now it's time to put tasks on a calendar. Use tools like Gantt charts, show tasks over time with bars. Kanban boards, visualize tasks in stages, to do right pointing arrow, doing right pointing arrow, done. Network diagrams, great for visualizing task dependencies. Lay out tasks with their start and end dates, making sure dependencies and durations are reflected. This gives you a visual representation of the schedule. Step 5. Identify the critical path. The critical path is the longest sequence of dependent tasks that determines the shortest time the project can be completed. If any task on the critical path is delayed, the entire project is delayed. Knowing your critical path helps you focus attention where delays are most dangerous. Understand where there's slack time in the schedule. Step 6. Assign resources. Every task needs someone to do it. Assign team members, equipment, or other resources to each task. Watch out for overloading people with too many tasks at once. Conflicts when the same person is assigned to multiple overlapping tasks. Availability issues, vacations, holidays, other project work. Resource leveling tools in scheduling software can help adjust timing to reduce overloads. Step 7. Add milestones. Milestones are key events or deliverables that represent major progress points in the project.
They don't have duration, they're just markers.
Examples: design phase complete,
Prototype approved. Launch day.
Milestones help you track progress and celebrate wins along the way. Step 8. Review and validate. Before locking it in, review with your team. Get stakeholder feedback. Double-check dependencies and durations. Look for any red flags, overlaps, resource overload, unrealistic deadlines. Adjust as needed. This is your chance to refine the schedule before it goes live. Step 9. Baseline the schedule. Once everything looks solid and approved, baseline it. This means saving the original version of your schedule, so you can compare actual progress to what was planned. It's your measuring stick for the rest of the project. Bonus: buffer time is your friend. Don't plan at 100% capacity. Life happens.
People get sick. Tasks take longer than expected.
Priorities shift. Include contingency buffers, a day here, a half day there where it makes sense. These give you breathing room without officially slipping the timeline. Summary: creating a schedule turns your to-do list into a time-based roadmap. It aligns the team, sets expectations, and becomes a reference point throughout the project. Key takeaways: scheduling involves listing tasks, mapping dependencies, estimating durations, and placing them on a timeline. The critical path identifies your most time-sensitive tasks. Assign resources carefully and check for conflicts. Milestones and buffers keep your schedule realistic and trackable. Baseline your schedule so you can track progress later. Part 8. Estimating costs and budgeting. Money talks, so you better listen. Every project costs something. Whether it's time, materials, labor, software, or travel, someone's paying for it, and they want to know how much and why. This part is all about turning your project plan into a financial plan. A solid budget helps you get project approval, manage resources wisely, avoid surprises, build trust with stakeholders.
Let's break it down so it's not just a spreadsheet full of best guesses.
Step 1. Understand what you're estimating. Before you crunch numbers, know the types of costs involved. Direct costs. Costs that are directly tied to the project. Examples: team member salaries based on time worked, contractors or freelancers, equipment or materials, software licenses used only for this project. Indirect costs. Costs shared across multiple projects or business operations. Examples: office space, utilities, admin support. You might not have full control over these, but they should still be accounted for in larger project environments. Fixed costs versus variable costs. Fixed equals same no matter what, e.g. a flat fee for equipment rental. Variable equals change based on use, e.g. hourly consultant rates, printing per page. Step 2. Choose your estimating method.
There's more than one way to build a budget.
Choose based on how much info you have. 1. Top-down estimating. Start with the total cost, often set by leadership, and break it down into pieces. Good for projects with a strict budget ceiling. Risk may force unrealistic planning. 2. Bottom-up estimating. Estimate the cost of each task or work package, then add them all up. Good for detailed planning, accuracy. Risk time-consuming and may overlook indirect costs. 3. Analogous estimating. Base your budget on the cost of a similar past project. Good for early estimates, fast planning. Risk every project is different, beware of assumptions. 4. Parametric estimating. Use formulas and rates based on known variables. Example, if printing 1,000 brochures costs $500, then 2,000 would cost $1,000. Good for repetitive work. Risk. Accuracy depends on data quality. Step 3. Estimate resource costs. Use your schedule part 7 to identify who is working on each task, how long they'll work, their rate, hourly or salary based. Example, if Sam is working on development for 5 days at $400 per day, right pointing arrow $2,000. Repeat this for every task with labor involved. Also estimate costs for equipment, licenses, travel, supplies. Don't forget setup or shutdown tasks, they take time and money too. Step 4. Add contingency reserves.
No matter how good your estimate is, something will change.
That's where contingency comes in. A good rule of thumb: add 5 to 15% of your total budget as a contingency reserve for known unknowns. For high-risk projects, you might also build in a management reserve, usually held by leadership for unexpected surprises. Example, if your calculated costs total $50,000, right pointing arrow add $5,000, 10%, equals total budget $55,000. Step 5. Build the budget. Now it's time to put everything into a clear, organized format. A project budget document typically includes cost by category, labor, materials, travel, etc. Cost by phase, planning, execution, closing. Timeline of when costs will be incurred, cash flow. Totals plus contingency reserves.
You can build this in
Excel or Google Sheets, PM software like MS Project, Smartsheet, or ClickUp. Finance tools integrated with your org's accounting system. Step 6. Get approval. Before any spending begins, get formal sign-off. This usually means presenting your budget to stakeholders or sponsors, justifying major expenses,
answering questions, especially why is this so expensive?
Be ready to defend your numbers, especially if you used bottom-up estimates based on task-by-task breakdowns. Step 7. Track spending against the budget. Once the project starts, budgeting doesn't stop.
You'll need to
monitor actual costs versus planned. Report regularly, weekly or monthly. Flag overruns early. Adjust where needed. You don't want to find out you're 40% over budget, with 40% of the project left to go. Summary. Budgeting isn't just about numbers, it's about making your project financially realistic and buildable. It gives leadership confidence and helps you keep things on track when the pressure hits. Key takeaways. Understand the types of costs: direct, indirect, fixed, variable. Choose the right estimating method based on your data and timeline. Use your schedule to estimate labor and resource costs. Always add contingency. Build, present, and track your budget carefully throughout the project. Part 9. Risk management. Expect the unexpected. What is risk in a project? In the real world, projects don't always go as planned. Deadlines slip. People leave. Vendors disappear. Technology fails.
These surprises,
they're risks. A risk is any uncertain event that could impact your project, positively or negatively. Wait, positively?
Yep.
Risks aren't always bad. A surprise bonus in budget, or a new tool that makes work faster. Those are opportunities, and they're just as important to track.
But let's be real, most of the time we're talking about threats.
And if you're not prepared for them, they can derail your entire project. Why risk management matters. You can't avoid every risk.
But you can
spot them early. Plan your response. Minimize their impact. Good risk management doesn't eliminate all problems.